everyone, my name is Mr. Francy and welcome to my channel Mr. Francy Reads. If you have been here before, welcome back. If this is your first time, welcome to the family. Today we are continuing on with my reading vlogs for my readathon that I've been doing. It's right up here. The Cozy It Up with Mr. Francy Readathon, and it's been absolutely amazing. So if you have not already checked it out, I do have a reading vlog that has covered the 1st to the 7th of February, and now we are going to do the 8th to the 14th. Happy Valentine's Day if you celebrate. And yeah, if you're in a coupling, wonderful. And if you're not, happy Valentine's Day to you, you SAF, single and fabulous person. Because it doesn't matter if you're in a couple or not. Valentine's Day is a day of love. Why not give some love to you? Absolutely. All right. Now, let's talk about the books that I have been reading this week. Okay, you guys, because it is the Cozy Up with Mr. Francy Readathon, I have been obviously reading cozies. So just going to ignore the little slash that's through that one because I mixed that one up with that one. So I've done that one, and that one, but I haven't done the rest yet. But we're going to add to that as we do go along. So, the first book I'm going to talk to you about is this book, Death by Chocolate Cherry Cheesecake by Sarah Graves. This is a library book, which is why it is glimmering and shimmering at you and trying to blind you with all its light. I do apologize about that. I had started this book when we last checked in, but I hadn't finished it. I have now. So, this is book number 1 in the Death by Chocolate series by Sarah Graves. And this follows a woman by the name of Jake. Jake and her business partner, Ellie White, run a chocolate bakery, basically, called Moose, which is wonderful. And in this book, Jake arrives at work after a store owner who works next door to her had called her to let her know that someone had been murdered in her store, in her bakery. Oh my goodness. So the book literally opens up with the murder having already happened, and Jake is describing how she has found this body. And so there wasn't really a lot of time to get to know Jake. I mean, she found the body in, I think, like the second sentence of the book. So, I mean, it is what it is. Unfortunately, there was not a lot of culinary aspects in this book, and that is something I was looking forward to with it, so that did disappoint me. But the ending was such a thrilling ending. Oh my goodness, you guys, if you can hold out till the end with this book, then I highly recommend reading it because the ending was so thrilling, it knocked my socks off. I gave it 4 stars, mainly because of the ending. The ending was so good. The ending was like a 20 out of 5 stars for me, so it comes back to a ratio of 4 out of 5 for the entire book. But yeah, 4 stars from me. I read this as my culinary. There you go. I read this as my culinary. I've already crossed it off on this list. So that's okay. We'll move on to the next one. So the next book that I read, funny enough, you guys, was book 2 in that same series, which is even harder to show. Death by Chocolate Malted Milkshake by Sarah Graves. Book number 2. So in this one, the reason it's called Death by Chocolate Molten Milkshake is twofold. We are continuing to follow Jake and Ellie at their chocolate bakery, the Chocolate Moose, and Ellie has come up with a way to perfect the chocolate milkshake. They weren't selling it prior to this book, but they are now. Unfortunately, it was this new creation of this chocolate molten milkshake that has led to a murder. Can you believe it? A cozy mystery with a murder will blow me down with a feather. Yes, well, it led to a murder. So Jake has to try and work out what the heck is going on, and here is why. Jake and Ellie are at serious risk of having their bakery closed because they're not making enough money. However, there is a woman and a man that live in the town, and they're going to get married. And Jake and Ellie have been invited to be the caterers for the wedding. If the wedding can go ahead, wonderful, they will make that money, and hopefully that will promote them even more so they can keep their business open. However, suddenly, both of them at one time or another, the bride-to-be and the groom-to-be, end up being suspects in this murder, and so Jake and Ellie are running frantically against the clock trying to work out who the real killer is, because otherwise we will have no wedding and this business will definitely be closed down. Now, I disliked the first half of this book more than I disliked the first half of the first book, but again, Sarah Graves knows how to wrap up. I actually read the conclusion to this book twice. Because the first time I was just like in so much shock going, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And so then I went back and read the conclusion again with a more critical eye, and it is just fantastic. If you like thrilling conclusions to your cozies, I highly recommend Sarah Graves. Nonetheless, I gave this book 3 stars, and this was not chosen as part of my Cozied Up with Mr. Francy readathon. This is a book that I was reading for the Killing Time with Cozies scavenger hunt prompt of a book with a wedding theme. And clearly, we discussed that there was a wedding in this book. So, yay! So, on to the next book that I picked up, and you can kind of see the corner right there. So the next book that I picked up was this book. I'm so happy that I get to hold these books in my hand. You guys, we don't sell these books in Australia, and I've had so much trouble getting cozies to my home, physical copies of cozies to my home. But I have the first 3 books in this series. 1, 2, 3, Ferraverto.
1, 2, 3. Ferraverto.
On me, and I'm so happy. So, book number 3 is the one that I read during this past week, and it is called Meditated Peppermint. Book number 3 in the Amish Candy Shop series. Okay, now, I was reading this book as a replacement to the Secret Book and Scone Society, which I shelved, which I was reading that book for the Cozy on audiobook prompt for my readathon, and so I replaced this one for that prompt. So I listened to this book on audiobook, and you guys, talk about just beautiful timing. I started listening to this book on audiobook. I think I got about a chapter in. The moment I finished the first chapter, there was a knock at my door. Would you believe it? It was my delivery of this book. I mean, how fantastic is that? Am I right? Oh my gosh. So, in this series, 1, 2, 3, Ferraverto, we are following a woman by the name of Bailey King, who in book 1, A Salted Caramels, she goes back home to her grandparents who live in Amish country. Bailey has gone on to become a famous chocolatier, a very well-renowned chocolatier in a well-renowned chocolate business in New York. And she's moved to Amish country because her grandfather is deathly ill, and they work at a candy shop. So she's going back there to help them out. So things kind of happen in all 3 of the books. In all 3 of the books, there is a murder. That's not a spoiler, because in 95% of cozy mysteries, there is a murder. So there you go. But we follow Bailey King throughout the first 3 books, and I really appreciated that. In this particular book, there is a market thing going on where everyone needs to create a certain type of candy that they're going to sell at that market and have it like as a theme or whatever. And Bailey and her mommy, which is the Amish word for grandmother. So Bailey and her mommy end up creating peppermint candy, hence the title. And of course, then suddenly there's a murder and we got to try and solve all that stuff. Along the way, something happens with Bailey, and I can't say it because this is a spoiler, and it's going to make the next thing I want to discuss with you tough too. But I will say this. Bailey is given an offer, and that offer would have her leaving Amish country for a little while. Now, I ended up loving this book. I gave it 5 stars. Honestly, I've loved every book in the Amish Candy Shop Mystery Series. My goodness me. I've loved every book in the Amish Candy Shop Mystery Series that I've read so far. It hasn't changed. The day it does, I'll let you know. But until then, Amanda Flower, you absolutely have a hit of a series on your hands as far as I'm concerned. I have not given any of these books less than 5 stars. They've just all been so wonderful. I wish I could just binge read this series and read nothing else. Just read Amish Candy Shop all month long. But I need to mix up my reading. But this was fantastic. I highly recommend it, and I'm so happy that I have that book on me. Okay, so I can now cross audio off on my list. And there we go. We can see that wherever that is, there, that audio has now been crossed off. So I've got a potential bingo here, and a potential bingo here, and a potential bingo here. I mean, I've set myself up for bingos, but I haven't achieved one yet. Oh well, that's fine. I still had time after that. So after I finished Premeditated Peppermint, I read the next book in the series, and the reason I did was to set me up for next month. So after book number 3, Premeditated Peppermint, there is a novella, which is book 3.5. That book is this book, Criminally Coco. So in this novella, for the first time in this series, Amanda Flower switches protagonists and perspectives, and we end up following Bailey King's cousin, Charlotte. And so Bailey had to decide, as I said in book 3, whether she was going to do this thing, that I won't say what it is, that will take her out of Amish country for a little while. Bailey decides to do this thing. So in this book, Charlotte has gone along with Bailey to do this thing that's taken Bailey out of Amish country for the moment. And while we're there, there are some shenanigans that go on. And you guys, can I just say something that made me so happy? For the first time ever since starting to read cozy mysteries, I have come across a cozy mystery that doesn't have a murder. Is it a cozy mystery? Yes, it is. Because the mystery in this case is the thing that Bailey has gone off to do. There is someone who is trying to screw up everything for Bailey so that she becomes a failure. And so there are many attempts made to, just screw things up for Bailey. And what Charlotte's trying to work out is who the person is who's trying to screw the things up for Bailey. There is no murder. We just need to know who the, prankster with an ulterior motive is. But I loved that there was no murder. It was so refreshing to solve a different type of mystery. On top of that, you guys, not only for the first time in my cozy mystery reading experience did I read a cozy mystery that doesn't have a murder, but for the first time in my cozy mystery experience, I read a cozy mystery where I solved the mystery. I solved it! Oh my gosh, before the reveal! I've never done that. Never! I've had times with mysteries or cozies, so mysteries themselves or cozy mysteries, where I have thought, I think it might be this one, and I'm wrong. Then I've had other times where, I'll be honest, where I think to myself, I'd love it if it was this one. That would be fun. But with this book, I went, okay, I think it's this one. And the more the book went along, I went, yep, I think it is. I think it is. And then when we got that ultimate reveal, and I was so happy. I finally cracked a case. Yay! Everyone knows that I love my dear Brando Sando. I think I'm going to say on the side of female authors that I love my dear Amanda Flower. Because I haven't given any of her books less than 5 stars, and Criminally Coco, not surprisingly received, what's that? Yes, 5 stars! So that's what I've been reading this week. Now let's quickly look ahead to what I'm going to be reading for week 3. That is the 14th to the 21st of February. There'll be 2 books. And that first book is this book, Murder is Binding by Lorna Barrett. Now, admittedly, I've started the first chapter of this book and I'm enjoying it. It's set in a town that I don't remember yet what it's called, but that's okay, where we have different bookstores in that town, and each bookstore is separated by genre. So it's not inside a bookstore how you have separate sections that are separated by genre. It's each bookstore. Each individual bookstore has its own genre. And the protagonist that we follow, she has her own mystery bookstore. So, very excited. The next book I plan to read is this book, Double Double Tart and Trouble by Samantha Silva. This is book number 2. After the Witching Flower in the Spelford Cove series. So thanks to Jessica from Lady Lovestead Reads, I read this book last year and I loved it so much that I can't believe it has taken me so long to get on to book 2. But I can't wait, you guys. I am so eagerly anticipating this book. So once Murder is Binding is done, I'm right back here in Spelford Cove and I cannot wait. But anyway, that is where I'm going to leave it because this video has gone on for far too long and I'm sure you're sick of me already. And if you're not, thank you. Thank you if you're not sick of me already. I appreciate it. If you've made it this far, please leave sparkly heart emojis in the comments below. I feel like my name, Mr. Francy Reads, has become, my channel name anyway, has become synonymous with sparkly hearts. So leave a sparkly heart or many sparkly hearts in the comments section below. By the way, I want to give a shout out to one of my subscribers. His name is Mr. AJ the Artist. You guys, Mr. AJ the Artist always leaves me sparkly hearts in the comments section, and so saying it now to you to leave one for me reminds me of that. Mr. AJ, I want to thank you so much because those sparkly hearts always make my day. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your support. And to everyone else who has subscribed and liked and left comments, it has truly been a magical journey that I've gone on with you guys. Thank you very, very much. Now, I have a goal. And my goal is to reach 500 subscribers by the time I get to my birthday. So, if you haven't yet, head down below, hit the subscribe button, then hit that notification bell, ding, so that you can be notified every single time I upload a video. But in the meantime, that is where I am going to leave it. What books have you been reading for the Cozied Up with Mr. Francy Readathon? Or if not, what books were you reading in the second week of February? Let me know in the comments below. Letting you guys go with peace, blessings, and so much love. Please do be kind and love one another and put out positive energy to all. And of course, happy reading!